that loan.
Is there a loan?
But
It's awesome.
no, if he tells you that
The check
he
is
writes a
contract.
check, tells you I don't
Yeah,
have the
he
money.
can write you a check and tell you, I don't have money for now. In the meantime, you have a warranty here. Good check. Alright? That's what I'm talking about.
The bank, you was going to continue if you stop. Does it have three conditions?
Yeah, no,
Malik
yeah. Yeah, the bank will. The bank has the
full
money.
and what is it? It's stamped to the word.
Yeah. The bank. I mean, it's understood that if you take a check that is a good check, the bank will cash it. Yeah. Even some banks, even if the client doesn't have money, they will cover it for him. They will charge him sometimes, but they will cover it. Okay. Some so the ulama said, some of them said, this is hiwala, even though he doesn't have the money, and some of them call it wakala, call it wakalat istikhraj. Yani, in other words, here's the check, hold on it until we have money, and once we have money you can cash it. Okay, just like a warranty for your check. But whatever, the condition we talked about is there should be money in the bank. There is money in the bank. This transaction is valid. This is what hiwala is. So Ahmed has no choice to say no. Alright? Ibrahim has to pay. Because Ahmed knows Ibrahim, he can pay. He won't pay the bank. Can pay. Alright? So that is one of the transactions. If any of the conditions is not met, then we have a problem. In other words, if Ahmed says, I'll take the check, but since I have to make a trip and all that, did he ask me the question? Brother, did you ask? Yeah? Okay. All right. I thought you got upset at you. We don't want anyone upset with us. Sorry. All right. So, anyone in this transaction try to charge the other person for the check, that is halal. Unless it's for the service. Okay?
What you mean about service?
Service, like the bank has people who are going to take the check, who are going to verify it, employees, all that, time, labor, all that. If it's required, usually they don't charge. But some bank accounts, they have a monthly
If
fee.
they charge Ahmed, not Ali.
Yes.
Okay. But
But-
if they charge Ali, it's
Yeah.
haram.
Again, if the service or the charge is really for the amount of the service. Okay? If it's really the actual cost of the service. If that's what they're charging, they're okay.
But Ali, you need to have $1,000, for example.
Yeah.
Ahmed have to pay Ali the $1,000.
Yeah.
You give me a check for $1,000. Ali goes to the bank and the bank says, you know what, I'm gonna give you $990.
Yeah. Right.
That's mean that we cut Ali short.
Right.
Right. So the charge have to be for
If there is a charge, it's charged for the service of cashing the check. Service cashing the check, the one responsible about it, the one who issued the check. Alright? Alright.
Jazakallah.
Right. Now, money transfer. Okay? Money transfer is another issue. Another transaction of al-hiwala. Money transaction. Money transfer. In money transfer, it can be in two ways. The money that, for example, let's not talk about money transfer. Take it too far or months too far. Let's talk about money order. Money order is hiwala as well. Okay? Travel checks. Traveler checks, whatever they call it. That is the same thing. Why? Because if you go back to the definition of the money of the hiwala, you find it applying here. In other words, for example, I'm traveling. Now, I'm gonna take my money that the bank owes me. I'm gonna make him issue a money order for me, or a travel check. So when I travel, instead of carrying money, when I travel, and someone there does a service to me or sells me something, I pay him with that check. So this person is going to go back and cash it from the bank. So you see? So it's hiwala again.
It's a check. It's the same as check.
Check. But in transaction here, we're just mentioning different transactions.
Yeah, give money.
Yes. So money order or travel check can be endowed. The one way, the money that is intended to be transferred or moved from one place to another is the same as the money that is being paid. Meaning, I take $1,000 to the bank, I tell them issue me a travel check for $1,000. That is one scenario. The other scenario is I go and they say, here's $1,000 to the bank, I'm going to Europe, issue me a check in euros. That is a different transaction. Each one has its own rules. Especially when the money, there's a change in the money. Okay? Very important. But in the first transaction, it's very simple. The bank has the money, you give him your money, they issue that. Once the bank writes or inputs that you paid them $1,000, then they have the money. That is in the system. Okay? So in other words, they issue a check for $1,000 that they have. Which makes you now think, so where is the problem with the other one, if there's a problem, or the condition that needs to be met? Is when you go to transfer money from one place to another, and you tell them, you give them $1 and you tell them, send euros, or give my family in X country dirham or dinar. Okay? Where's the problem here?
Currency price.
Okay. First, when it comes to the exchange, it must be the current price. Because again, once you give them the money, that is a possession of the money. Then when they exchange, they have to exchange for you the price of the currency at that moment you give them the money. Because that is one of the conditions. Remember when you exchange money with money? Okay? You have to agree on that moment. Okay, the price for euro is $1.5 today. So I want you to refer to, I give you dollars, you send the euros. So the price at this moment is 1.5. If they get the money 3 days later and the price of the euro is 1.8, you cannot go to the bank and tell them, why did you pay them 1.5? Because at the time they collected the money, it was 1.5. So that is one condition. The second condition, it must be, or the bank must have what? Euro. Must have the currency you want them to change it to. Because if they don't, then they are paying something they don't have. Alright? For example, you exchange gold with silver. What is the condition? Do they have to be equal?
No.
But they have to be
On the spot.
on the spot. Right? If I change dollar with euro, it's the same thing. They don't have to be equal because two different jinsing. But they have to be on the spot. The fact the bank signs or inputs the information in their system, that is as if it has been paid. So we pass this, because some will say, but the money they might collect it an hour later in my country if I send it from here. Once it goes into the bank's papers or system, it's as if it's collected. Alright, so that part, yadan biyad, is overcome. Now, the other issue is it has to be there to be yadan biyad. If the bank doesn't have euro, then there is no way in the world it's going to be yadan biyad. Then we're going to say, okay, the bank has to wait until they get the euro. Alright? So you need to make sure when you transfer money and someone else is going to collect it, either they collect the same money, the same type of money you sent, or ask for a very common currency. Don't ask for Ethiopian, whatever.
It shows in the paper when you send money.
Yeah.
It shows how much they're gonna receive.
Yes.
So
That part we already understood. That needs to be documented on the spot.